Hello, this is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative take about the world around me. So this particular episode is focusing in on Belgium and food, suggestions for food to taste when going to Belgium. I appreciate, again, all you listeners out there. And on Fridays, I show my thanks by highlighting aspects of the countries, cities, regions, states, well, that goes without saying, of all the listeners that are out there that listen to this podcast, The Harboring Light. And so, as this progresses, I'm not just going to focus on food, I'm going to go on to other subjects. And I think that starting out with food is a good way to get the conversation going about culture and where a lot of people can relate to it. And also it'll be very informative and helpful to get suggestions too. You feel free to do that. So you can either email me, find me on X, Substack, and of course comments on YouTube. That'd be greatly appreciated. And also I have a link. So which speaker you enjoy this content, you can feel free to support me. Support my podcast. And, click on the link. And then would be $5 to support. And I believe that's $5 a month or so. And then with that, you want to give your support, I'll give you exclusive content to go along with it. All right, so here we go. Let's jump into the aspects of food from Belgium. Let's dig in. All right, and if you hear rain or droplets or thunder in the background, it's raining kind of bad where I am. So keep that in mind. Just giving you a heads up about that. So let me get into the details about. So I want to address the writer. So I think it's to get the atmosphere of the creator who wrote all of this. It gives a good background to their sort of methodology or the thought process behind why they chose to highlight certain things in the aspects of food and culture with the food. And that background helps to exemplify that. And I also think it's a good way to give even more of a personal touch to the writing, so it doesn't seem like it's such a concrete or impersonal thing that I'm talking about, because that's the great thing about food. Food, for the most part, is really an intimate connection with people. And the way that it's intimate is that it's something that is a reflection of how somebody thinks about themselves for the most part. Because that really is, that is, even though it's an old adage, it's true. So you are what you eat. And then, so for instance, if you're a person that likes bold spices, flavor, things of that nature, that speaks a lot about the personality and to what kind of food choices they maneuver towards. And then how those food choices gives the insight of how they might think or see the world. For instance, if somebody likes bold spices, bold flavors, it could be an aspect of saying that they enjoy not, fine cuisine, or that they enjoy to adventure or venture other foods outside of the realm, or they could be a foodie. That's an aspect more prevalent in our culture now, with the aspect of people trying exotic foods. And it's funny how that became a running joke, for early comedy, the mid 2000s, for instance, with Parks and Recreation with Tom Haverford. It's a really good example of that, saying, I don't want to necessarily eat the food. I just like to take the picture so you can get the social impact of, look at me, what I'm eating is so good. Don't you wish you could eat it? So, that's not always the case, but there's a lot of people out there that like to try new foods and then go beyond the concept of being stuck in a rut with eating the same thing over and over again and, never venturing out. So, all right. So the author, his name is Jamie Scott. He is a food enthusiast and talented cook with over 15 years of experience in the culinary industry. Holding a degree in nutrition, Jamie specializes in creating nutritious and delicious meals. As the lead author and content creator for, I believe that's Alamanite, forgive me for that pronunciation.com. Jamie shares his passion for food, nutrition, and cooking, providing readers with engaging content and inspiring recipes. All right, so for you connoisseurs of liqueur, I'm starting out with juniper flavored liqueur. When talking about Belgian alcohol beverages, many people automatically think of beer. While the popularity of beer in Belgium is obvious, you should know that there are other drinks. One of them is juniper, they're also known as the gin. Like a lot of culinary items, it is shared. Traditionally, it's a traditional drink for Belgium and the Netherlands, unsurprisingly, because they used to be one. So juniper is distilled from malt and wine flavor of the juniper juice. Different techniques is distilling gives the liqueur a different taste. You can choose vodka like a juniper, or more aromatic juniper or old juniper. All right, so Café Le Gos Le Gueux, coffee. I gotta get more in touch with my French there. So if you think of coffee as it's a drink, then Café Le Gueux is a drink. Two, although it is more like a dessert, and it does look tasty. And I am a huge fan of coffee, and I can't wait till I get to the aspects of being able to travel and taste different types of coffee and get the feel of how that translates into other countries. It's very unique to have that experience. Okay, it is made from sweetened coffee that is refrigerated, then mixed with ice cream and whipping cream just before serving. Okay, so we're gonna go to a touch of the historical background about this drink dessert. So the history of the drink dessert is quite epic. In 1914, the Belgian army held the German troop around the Gueux along enough for the French ally to recognize the grateful French later changed the name of the coffee and the Café Le Gueux. Okay, here we go on to the next. Sirop de Liège syrup. Okay, so the region of Liège definitely leaves an incredible mark on Belgian foods. One of its greatest culinary contributions is sirop de leche syrup. So this food is more like jam than syrup. And it looks quite good. Looking at the photo of it, and the source will be provided for you in this episode. People produce the syrup by slowly cooking apple or pear cores, mushing the fruits, then cooking it again. They don't need to use any sugar for the process. So you have a few slices. You have it with a few slices of bread topped on the surface, on the top of the bread, and they share the leche and cheese. Is one of the most popular Belgian breakfast dishes. Many Liège dishes have syrup as the main ingredient, such as Liège meatballs and waffles. That's quite interesting, adding meatballs to it to balance out the savory with the sweet. I think that gives a nice touch to where it's not, so to speak, it's not too much going on at once. You get a nice variety. It's always good when you have cuisines like that. Okay, so going on to gingerbread cookies, my favorite, personally. And it gives a historical background to it, too. So once upon a time, people had to wait until St. Nicholas Day on December 5th and 6th to enjoy the sweet. And St. Nicholas, for those who know and who don't know, so my recollection of history about St. Nicholas, he was a saint, and particularly to move along to the essence of waiting to December 5th and 6th, the way St. Nicholas helped the community, it was almost like he was Santa. So it gives into the spirit of December. Okay, so to enjoy sweet, spicy gingerbread, you now can eat them any time of the year. They're among the most famous sweet treats in Holland, Belgium, and Rhineland. So the gingerbread is the type of short crust biscuit that is infused with a large number of spices such as cinnamon, cloves, ginger, nutmeg, and pepper. Oh, and that's quite interesting because mainly when I cook gingerbread for the holidays, I just use the typical aspects of, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, nutmeg. But adding pepper, I gotta try that out. I better give it a nice, robust taste or touch to it. You learn something new every day. Okay, because spices were pricey in the past, the cookie was reserved for the big holiday. Okay, so we are going on to rice tarts. So while Belgian cuisine doesn't strike you as a heavy user of rice, the grain is the main ingredient of one of Belgium's most celebrated desserts. So the rice tart is the most delicious tarts that have the exterior layer of rice flour and the inside custard filled with milk, cream, and eggs. So it's another characteristic that come in many sizes. Is either big or small, and it's suggested that it should be eaten cold. All right, so yummy. Belgian chocolate, well known for that. So let's dig in. Except for waffles, no sweet foods can say Belgian more than chocolate. For a small country of roughly 12 million people, Belgium has up to 2,000 varieties of chocolate. The nation is passionately in love with the chocolate. They add it to a large number of food, drinks, and desserts. So, it isn't strange for you to receive a complimentary piece of chocolate after ordering a cup of coffee or even tea. What are the differences between Swiss chocolate and Belgian chocolate, you ask? The former is smoother and creamier. So it's smoother and creamier. While the latter is much darker and more bitter because it contains more cacao. So if you crave something darker, go Belgian. And yeah, not everybody is a fan of milk chocolate, particularly with the sweet aspect of in the undertone of milk chocolate. So yeah, that gives punch to it to have that bitterness with chocolate. And then particularly when you're baking with chocolates and baker's chocolate, it's one of those each his own deals, but that's good to know. Okay, so here we go with waffles. One of another characteristic of Belgium. If there were a world's capital of waffles, it would certainly have to be located in Belgium. The bakery is ambiguous in the country. It is a myth that Belgians mostly eat waffles at breakfast, though they have bread with cheese and jams. While waffles are one of the most popular Belgian desserts, you should remember that there are two varieties. The Leguille waffles are round and very sweet because they have crystallized sugar baked into them. Meanwhile, the Brussels ones have a rectangular shape. They are sweet because of fruit, chocolate, or cream toppings rather than caramelized sugar. All right. Okay, so I'm going to move on to rabbit with prunes. Now, that's a pretty, I don't know about the prune part, but as far as the taste palette, it might be pretty good. So, let me read into this. It says rabbit isn't the only Belgian food that you can enjoy. The Flemish population proudly presents the rabbit with prunes. It is a delicious stew dating back to the early 20th century. As the name indicates, the stew mixed with rabbit is with a lot of prunes to achieve its desirable sweetness. And so the trick is to add herbs, white vinegar, and extra virgin olive oil to make the stew. An extra special touch there. And it says croquettes will go well as with the complement for the meal. All right, so mussels with fries. While their name is of French heritage, it is dating back from the Flemish of the 18th century. So this dish is tremendously popular and can be bought at any cafe. By some estimations, each Belgian consumes 3 kilograms of the musselwood fries on an average of every year. So Belgian mussels are more succulent than in neighboring varieties. So people cook them in various ways, then serve them with double fried fries and dipping sauce. There are many ways to prepare this dish, such as the steaming method with mussels and vegetables. Other methods are cooking it with butter or wine, or using cream and flour, or using beer. All right, so skinless sausages. So this is also, again, of French heritage. So Belgian fries, the origin of this topic is up for debate. So both the Dutch and Belgians claim to have invented it. So the history of this dish dates back to the 17th century, but its modern recipes didn't emerge until the 50s, making it harder to trace the origin. So Dutch or not Dutch is certainly a Belgian pride. It is made from pork chicken, and sometimes horse meat. People blend the meat with spices into skinless shape. The shape stuffing is what I'm recollecting that the description of this. It is then boiled and deep fried, giving the crispy exterior. The crispy exterior then gives it the distinct flavor. So, like other Belgian foods, you should eat it with fries and mayonnaise. That's a nice suggestion to have. All right, going on to eels in the green. So the name says it all. Freshwater eels are cooked in sauce with great numbers of green herbs, such as sage, oregano, basil, parsley, just to name a few. The trick is to add the herbs at the last minute so they can have the retained emerald color and also that herbal flavor. People liken eels to all sorts of meat, chicken, lobster, snakes, etc. But you have to make your own conclusion. Okay, that's quite interesting to say, but that is, true. It's a joke, particularly with children, when introducing them to new food, for instance, something like goat or things like that. And you don't say what it actually is, or octopus or something. You don't say what it actually is. You say, present them with goat and say, what do you think that is? And most of the time say, oh, it tastes like chicken. But it's actually something quite different. And then, it goes on without the saying, when you introduce new foods, it grows with the palate. And then, it gives yourself more range and appreciation of food too. Okay, so there is a sandwich. So the Meltriti, I believe the pronunciation of this. So this is French again. So it's possibly due to the shape of the wartime origin of the sandwich. So some people call it American because it looks like a hamburger, which actually came from the German gastronomy. The sandwich is made from a long baguette stuffed with Belgian fries, fried meat or meatballs, and sausages. And if you hear the rooster, if you hear that, we do have chickens and roosters. That's good to be able to, that we have the opportunity to do that in order to, it's one benefit, to get as much eggs as we like. And, we just got these, well, not really, but they're just producing eggs. So, that's going to be a process. But it's also good to teach our children even more responsibility about taking care of animals and all of these things. Okay, so if you hear those little chicks and the roosters in the background, that's what's going on. Okay, many people add fresh vegetables to the mix to make it healthier. Where we do have some chicks, but they're not so little anymore. But, the chickens and the roosters. All right, so many people add fresh vegetables to the mix to make it healthier. So this is suggested as a great on-the-go food, particularly with the popular with the students. So I would say maybe college students. And those who know about this, feel free to leave comments about it, either in the YouTube comments, email me, or send me a message on Substack or Facebook. Not Facebook, X. Not only a popular snack, but the Meltriti has also become a symbol with the identity of Belgium. So after the 2016 Brussels bombings, many Belgians shared images of their beloved sandwich across social media as a sign of friendship and courage in the face of terror. All right, so going on to Flemish beef stew. So there are more than 600 types of Belgian beer, but you want to add red ale for the stew. So beef seasoned with herbs is slowly cooked into beer until terrifically tender. So other ingredients include onions, mustard, garlic, and so have you. But it's suggested that beer is the star of it. All right, so here we go on to mashed potatoes. So stumpy is essentially a mixture of mashed potatoes with mashed up vegetables and is a generous amount of cream and milk. Its preparation looks like the Dutch stampot, I believe the pronunciation of that, or the British dish bubble and squeak. But the Belgian food has a much smoother, spherical shape and much richer flavor. All right, so here we go with shrimp croquettes. So in the North Sea, the supplies to Belgium with many sublime delicacies, particularly the gray shrimps or the crevettes, grease. It is always a delight to chew on the sweet and tasty flesh of those shrimps. So gray shrimp croquettes are a favorite snack in Belgium. It is more difficult to find a cafe or restaurant without the dish than you think. Those crispy, fatty dumplings, when coupled with tangy shrimp, have a irresistible allure. All right, so tomato stuffed with gray shrimps. So here's another classic Belgian recipe with gray shrimp. The Belgian people seem to have a good imagination with the bountiful treasure of the North Sea. When you're fed up with greasy dishes, and gray shrimp will provide that fresh relief for you. So this dish has a visually striking appearance. Ripe red raw potatoes have their insides removed and replaced with peeled shrimps. A mixture of mayonnaise, tomato juice, lemon juice, and herbs will complement the picture. So, boudin blanc de légumes with white sausage. So, if blood sausage is too much for your taste, let's look at a milder version of the Belgian sausage. How some links of juicy, spicy boudin blanc de légumes, white sausage from légumes. They have a richer flavor than normal sausages and go well with mashed potatoes or bread. So it is made of minced veal, pork back or shoulder, onion, spices, and especially cream and milk. For the sausage to have their distinct milky color, people have to boil them for a short time. All right, so raisin bread. Belgian cuisine has been significantly influenced by the French gastronomy culture. But its people usually come up with the interesting way to infuse Belgian qualities in their own borrowed dishes. For instance, they turn French brioche into the highly Belgian pan crème cue. People improve this version with raisins and a higher content of milk and butter. The result is the richer and more tender pan crème cue. So the bread can be spread with butter, jam for a quick meal, or served as an appetizer. And then pommes frites, fries. So, the Belgians are so fond of their fries that almost none of the great Belgian foods are complete without them. When eaten alone, the fries don't have to go with ketchup. You can dip them in garlicky mayo sauce, samurai sauce, or Belgian sauce. And steak tartare. Now this isn't for everyone, but some people like that rare aspect of meat. Okay, so despite being thousands of miles apart, American influences have a lot on European dishes. So one such example is the American filet, a steak tartare that can be around for nearly a century. So the minced raw beef and onions are the main ingredients of the filet American. But what What sets the distinguished mark of it is from other types of steak tartare. So there is a liberal amount of spices that gives it a more powerful and savory flavor. You can eat the steak tartare with fries and sauces as an appetizer. Or you can combine with baguettes and pickles to create the mouth-watering Belgian Martino sandwich. And to end, chicken cream puff pastry. So, goes on to say, what Belgian food is most poetic name is the windblown would unquestionably be claimed as first prize. So this is the loosely translated. It is also named as windblown in Belgian. So the dish is a type of puff pastry so light and airy that it got the fancy name nobody dares to translate into English. Yes, it's quite an adulting task there. Okay, just a bit fist-sized adoring look at this, and your taste buds will be soaked and savory with the cream mixture of chicken and cream. So quickly balanced with the overwhelming sensation with some fries, mashed potatoes, or vegetables. So this is suggested as an attractive appetizer and the Belgian and Luxembourg cuisine. But if you want a nice Belgian lunch recipe, just serve the dish in a large quantity with a lot of accompaniment. So it's also a hearty and fulfilling meal, which as you wish to desire it to be. All right, so this reaches the end of the Harboring Light, and of course, feedback is greatly important. So I would like to know what you all think about the aspect of Belgian food and the culture, and how that translates throughout the globe, and how that translates into American culture too. All right, so either reach me through email, Substack, X, and of course YouTube. Be greatly appreciated. And again, you enjoy my content, feel free to click that support tab and my sources. It'd be greatly appreciated too. Tune in, turn up, and absolutely take care out there. Bye-bye now.